Ho, everybody, we're back in the house, the Snarf Talk house, and we're right here doing the Snarf Talk house. And we're doing the Snarf Talk dance.
Snuffing around the town.
Snuffing on down the street.
Election week 2020. It used to be one day, and now it's a whole week.
Or month.
Yeah, or month, or multiple months.
Welcome.
Welcome to Snarf Talk, episode 101.
This episode, we're going to talk 100% about politics.
All about politics, everything about what's happened from Tuesday to today.
Yeah, we're gonna just repeat all the stuff that you've been endlessly reading on your phone as you click refresh.
We're gonna dive.
Refresh.
We're gonna dive deep.
Refresh.
We're gonna get into the deep depths of what our politics have become.
Yeah, and our political stances and who we hate.
Oh, and we're gonna be very firm on those stances, and hate on people. Yeah. That's what we do here.
That's what
we take very sharp stances and usually ignore the other side.
Yeah, and
completely
just give our complete, utter disinformation-based knowledge.
Yeah, none of it's true.
And we don't know anything.
No, I don't. I don't know a thing. But it has been a wild week, Christopher.
Yeah, we're not really going to talk about politics the whole time. We will talk about it a little bit, just right up the gate, just so anybody that's coming in, we can just tease you a bit.
If you aren't aware.
This episode is going to be top 10 Sean Connery movies.
Sean Connery.
We'll get to that in the second hour.
Hot shingles, you say.
Right?
Huh?
Hot shingles?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Celebrity
he says
Jeopardy.
Singles. No, it's not. It's so there was I just saw, it was a meme, but it's a billboard, and it was an advertisement for a roofing company. And it said, "We have hot shingles." And then underneath it was Sean Connery and says, "Hot shingles," you say, like hot singles,
That's funny.
because of his accent.
Yeah.
He had a bit of an accent. I believe he was Irish. Is he Irish?
He is Scottish, dude.
Is he Scottish?
Everybody knows that.
He always played Irishman in like 4 movies.
How do you know? Maybe he played Scotsman.
No, he played Irishman because I've read the roles.
Okay. Well, beside the point, we're going to get to that. We're going to do that in the second hour or sooner.
Yep.
So stick around for that.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
And here.
Oh.
Before that.
And right now.
We got a fresh face, baby face Jerry here.
Yeah, so I don't have any more facial hair.
He looks like baby Jerry now.
It's weird. I hate it. You can really see this neck growth. Like how...
That's fine.
The deposits of fat just go right underneath my chin. And then they make it real fat.
In history, whenever you see like leaders or smart people,
they're thin.
No.
And
they always have like double chins.
That's true.
They always do. They're opulent.
What's that mean? I don't even know that word.
You don't know the word opulent?
I'd have to look it up.
It's just because, I'm thinking of like Benjamin Franklin, just like laying back.
It's like the only guy.
Drinking some booze in one hand, eating some grapes, having somebody fan him.
Yeah, I'm sure he did that.
And
he had a lot of relations with the help.
Well, anyway, it is election week. We all got that done. We're over it. It's over.
It's over for now. I mean, it's going to be a long, drawn-out process, but it's
called.
We have a new president.
We have a new president.
Mr. What's his name? Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Joe Biden wins the election for 2020. I honestly didn't think that was going to happen.
I said that.
I didn't.
I thought it would happen.
You did?
Yeah.
You did claim that. And I was like, I don't really think so.
Well, it was like super close, but my whole thing was like, okay, there's people that voted for him the first time that aren't going to vote for him the second time, but there's nobody that's going to vote for him the second time that didn't vote for him the first time.
You don't think so?
Well, there was some, obviously.
I'm sure there was some.
Anyway,
it's just crazy how it's all played out.
Whoever you were supporting, it's not the end of the world.
It's really not. I'm going to go on with my life just like I did when Trump became president, and everybody thought it was the end of the world then.
I like a divided government. We don't have that yet. We don't know what's happening with the Senate yet.
Oh, I thought the Senate was like for sure Republican.
No, because 2 of the races in Georgia didn't get to 50%, so now they got to do a runoff election for both seats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
However,
I really tuned out after Wednesday.
Every person in the world is going to put like hundreds of millions of dollars down into Georgia because that election's January 5th.
Really?
And that will determine those two senators will determine the balance. Now, it's Georgia, so you would think at least one of them will end up being Republican.
You would assume.
Most likely. Because, see, what happens in a runoff election is somebody has to get 50%, right? But a lot of them, there's 3 or 4 candidates. So the vote gets split up.
Oh.
And there might be 3 or 4 popular candidates. So it could go, 20%,
yeah,
30%.
Like 35% to one person.
Right.
And
so I think they take the top 2, I would assume, and they do a runoff. So theoretically, it could be a landslide one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because you're eliminating all the other percentages of vote.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be strange for the next couple months just because of like Trump suing, like filing lawsuits against states.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean,
it happened in 2000, but that was only one state and not.
Yeah,
I think it
still lasted like over a month.
Yeah, but I think he's got lawsuits in like 4 different states.
4 states. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I think despite, my opinion is despite the fact that he's kind of being a little bit obnoxious about it, despite that fact, I mean, I think anybody has the right to make sure that the election wasn't tampered with. In this case, it seems a little overwhelming. The odds of getting anything, making a difference, even if you flipped one state, it wouldn't make a difference.
Right, exactly. He'd have to flip like 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's possible at all, and I don't believe it is.
Do you believe the election was stolen, like a lot of people seem to the conspiracize about?
To be honest, you have no idea. Like, we have no idea what really went on. At first, I had texted you, and I thought it was strange. Like, when we found out in the middle of the night, like, votes literally jump straight up on a chart.
Isn't it odd? And since we've kind of got explanations for a lot of that, isn't it odd that there was no really like information process to the general public of like, okay, since things are different this year, this is the way it's gonna. I mean, everybody said we're not really gonna know for several days,
right?
But there wasn't like a good information. So then when things start happening that people don't understand.
Yeah, everybody jumps to conclusions, obviously.
It blows up.
Yeah, nobody really knew. I didn't know any part of how different it was going to be this year.
I think it's interesting that, earlier, several episodes ago, we were talking about the whole mail-in voting thing.
Yeah.
And we were both like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really see why it's that big of a deal. I get it now. Like, I hadn't really thought about that closely, but, I mean, without that, Trump would have won.
He would have.
So, I mean, you would assume still a lot of those people would go and vote. But I just think the easiness of mail-in ballots probably made the turnout higher.
Right.
And the last election, frankly, was a very close election.
Yeah, it was very, very close. And I think but that's what drew out the whole process. Isn't it like a law that election day has to be one day?
Well, election day was one day, but there was just the ability to mail in your vote.
And that's what drew it out.
Yeah, they had to count all those votes.
Right, that's what I mean. So, like, the whole mail-in thing is what drew it out so long.
Like Florida already had their mail-in ballots counted.
Which is what you should do.
Right, but lots of states passed laws or had laws that said they can't start counting them.
Until election day.
Until, I think, even after they've counted the in-person votes.
Which I think that was Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that was one of them. There's some others. So, I mean, I don't really understand why that would be. I don't now, in retrospect, and regardless of the candidates, I don't think the mail-in ballot thing was a good idea or right. And it does seem, from an objective position, because I'm not supporting one side or the other here, it does seem like it would be more likely that you'd have a lot more fraud.
Absolutely, because it's just it's changing hands so often.
Well, and people can just take other people's ballots, or like if they have elderly parents, they can just take them and fill them out. There was just a case in Texas. They charged a lady with 134 felony counts. She worked at a home for mentally disabled people.
Yeah,
and just took all their ballots and filled them out for Biden and sent them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not right.
And there's been several instances of that. Now, I don't think that this is the issue that I don't think you're going to find 20,000 fraudulent ballots. I think you find
not all at one time.
Would you find 1,000? Even 1,000 seems unlikely. you might find 200 or 300.
Even if you do find 1,000, it doesn't change the election.
20,000.
I mean, you could find 1,000 and say like that's screwed up, and we should never do that again, or like let's try not to do that again.
After seeing it, I don't believe we should do that.
Yeah, and I don't believe we should do that either. But it's not going to change this election.
Right.
And that's the reality of the whole situation. So.
It's up to the states to decide how they run their election. If they want to have mail-in ballots, they can have mail-in ballots. It's up to the state legislature. So,
well, there's always been mail-in ballots. There's always been like absentee ballots.
Absentee ballots are different than mail-in ballots. So an absentee ballot is for somebody that's like overseas, or somebody that's not living where they're registered anymore temporarily or for whatever reason. But there's always been early voting that you have to go to the courthouse and early vote. But I don't think there's ever been widespread mail-in ballots.
Right. I don't ever remember it. I thought, absentee ballots though, don't those go through the mail?
He's going to pull a Roosevelt.
I believe it's pronounced
Roosevelt. Slightly different. Trump 2024. Oh, because he's going to lose this one and then run again next time.
Yeah. And then I said that at work. I said 2024, you can almost guarantee Trump's going to run again.
100%.
I guarantee you. This next 4 years is going to be his campaign.
Yeah. The only thing is...
That's what's going to happen.
He shouldn't, because he'll be 78 years old, which, granted, same age as Biden is now. But I think we're all going to find out that that's a mistake, too.
In 4 years?
He'll be 70. He's 74 right now.
Is he? I thought he was 71.
I think he's 74. But
we're going to have to fact check that. Anybody on Facebook, fact check it if you can do it before I do.
I do think it's the wrong idea to be electing people that are 78 years old. Oh,
yeah, he is 74.
I don't think
You're correct.
I think maybe 74 is pushing it. So either Trump or
that
Biden,
is pretty
if
old.
either one of them won, they would be older.
We need to get into the 40s.
If either Biden or Trump won, listen to this stat.
Okay.
They would be older than both President Clinton and George H.W. Bush are currently.
Really?
Yes. And Clinton was the president in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Over 20
Boy,
years ago.
he was young.
Yeah, they both were in their early 50s, I think.
Holy smokes. Obama's very young.
He was in his 40s.
Yeah, he was like 48, 47 or something.
I like the 50s. I feel like that's a good age range.
I feel like the 50s are a good age range.
40s, I might get a little young there.
No, I don't know. That's kind of I would consider them kind of progressive because they're so young and hip,
Yeah.
Like they'd be on the edge of...
Yeah, because Obama was really hip.
He was super hip.
He was not.
Did you see all the pictures of him smoking weed?
I could see him, but like
super
in the
hip.
70s. I could see him being like, hey guys, we're hip. Aha.
A hipper to the hip, hip, hop. But don't stop a rocket to the bang, bang boogie.
The best thing I saw is they were pulling up this campaign video of Trump from like election day that was going around. That was just like him dancing, like different scenes of him dancing to YMCA, the song YMCA,
Really?
like at his campaign rallies. And everybody was making fun of it because his dancing is obviously ridiculous.
Sure.
And the whole thing is ridiculous. And so everybody's making fun of his campaign ad. And I watched it and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, not only, it's like it gets you fired up. You're like, yeah. You see him dancing and you're laughing. You're like, look at it being an old guy dancing. It's terrible, but it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And so it's like a picture of him dancing on a stage at a rally to YMCA. And then the camera will pan out and there's like 50,000 people in like helicopters flying over top. And you're just like, that's kind of cool. Like him or not, it was pretty entertaining.
That would be entertaining. I did see a video of him dancing, but it was like very like he was like clapping. It was a TikTok fad.
Oh, it's terrible. But this
it must be
video,
the same. It must be the same video of him
is.
dancing because TikTok had a bunch of videos of him dancing, and people were.
Oh, I believe it was on TikTok too.
Yeah, you can duet
TikTok
a video. So you can take a original video and then do your own side by side. And so many people were duetting his dance and making it a TikTok dance.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But it's fun.
So, I mean, I don't know. For me, I'm obviously not going to say who I voted for, but I obviously see downsides, massive downsides to Trump. I see massive downsides to Biden.
Yeah.
I see massive downsides to Kamala Harris.
Joe Jorgensen.
I see upsides for Trump. I see upsides for Biden. I mean, you gotta like look at it both ways sometimes.
And you also have to understand how our political system works when like Congress and Senate have a big deal like involved with this as well.
Yeah.
The president literally doesn't make or break every single aspect of your life.
Very little.
Like
Very
you have
little.
Obviously your state and local governments are very important to what you physically do like day to day and how you live.
That's why I've always liked that, and that's one thing I like about Trump, because he's been very much like over the last 4 years more interested in states' rights.
Yeah.
And that is like something I very much support. I feel like the federal government is way out of control as far as their governance.
Yes.
And also as far as the size, obviously. I feel like so many more of these social issues and other things like that need to be determined at the state level. And that's how our Constitution was written. And there's a good reason for that. It's because you have more direct influence over your local and state
Absolutely
elections than the federal elections. You have very little control over. We have no control over who's president, basically.
Basically not, no.
But you have a lot more control over who your state representative is.
Yes, 100%. And that will affect you a lot more than you think.
And there are people that you, not all cases, but you either know or you could know.
You could know. You could get close to them. You could go to their, like, they have offices close to your area
Right.
that you could physically go to, and you can call their offices. You can talk to people and say, hey, this is a concern I have, and it may actually be listened to.
Yeah.
You know, you have a much better chance of that being listened to than you do saying, like, I don't want this man as my president.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't change anything. But you can change a lot of stuff with a lot smaller government, like, close to you, and it can make bigger impacts down the line for a presidential race.
And that's why a lot of these things and issues should be decided at state levels. Each state should be like a little mini country.
Yeah.
And if you're in a shitty one, you have the ability either to look at the one that's succeeding and say, what do we want to emulate from what they're doing?
Yes.
Or you have the ability to go there
You do.
and vote. And basically that's
I mean, that's how we are now.
It's a market approach, right? To
It is.
democracy. It isn't the way though, because so much policy now is being dictated at the federal level, like so much policy.
Yeah.
And it just shouldn't be that way. I thought it was funny, not funny actually. I don't. People like don't believe me, but I mean, I'm not a super political person. I do have opinions on both sides that I can see.
Yeah.
I tend to be pretty socially progressive or liberal, and I tend to be very economically, fiscally conservative.
Yeah.
But generally more libertarian, like let people do whatever they want. States' rights, small, limited federal government. Anyway, that's beside the point. I heard somebody say today, like, it's terrible what Trump did by nominating that new justice that is actually extremely popular right now with the general public, that Amy Coney.
Yeah.
And I don't know a ton about it.
I read about her quite a bit, and seems like a genius.
Super. If you actually
very
get the
intelligent.
stupid bias out of your head
Yeah.
and being told what from extremist websites and being indoctrinated into ideology, if you go look up her accomplishments,
There's no reason why you wouldn't want her as a
she
justice.
is an amazing person. Regardless if you agree with her politically, she's like a super well qualified. And that,
Yeah.
anyway, beside that, this was my point to go. Whether or not you're upset by what you think she might do and have no idea about, by the
Exactly.
way. A, she's super well qualified. B, she was nominated by a sitting president as per our Constitution, and she was confirmed by an elected president, elected Congress. Now that's exactly how it should work.
Yes.
And that's exactly how it did work. Whether you agree with her or not, that's how it works, and that's how it should work.
I don't think the majority of people had a problem with the actual pick. I think they
they did.
Well, they had a bigger problem with the fact that he was doing it during an election year and during the election.
Well,
They
I think
always
that's completely
complained
stupid.
and whined and cried about doing it during the election. What's the difference? I don't understand. I mean, it was
Obviously.
it was because she's Republican and it was
Yeah,
putting
that's
another
the
Republican on the Supreme Court.
Listen,
but
this happened the last time when Obama was going out of office.
Yeah.
Obama nominated somebody. First of all, people were railing on Trump for nominating somebody. Obama nominated somebody.
yeah, but they didn't elect him during.
Doesn't matter. He
During
was
the
nominated by the president.
Yes.
The president still nominated him during an election.
Yes.
Okay, just the same as Trump did, right?
Yeah.
The difference is there was a Republican Senate, and they refused to vote on it because they could.
Yeah. Because that's the way the government works.
And at the time, the Republicans are saying we shouldn't do it in an election year. And now they're saying they can. So they're hypocrites.
Yes.
All right. And at the time, the
Of course
Democrats
they're
were
hypocrites.
screaming. They're screaming, this is the Constitution. We have to do this. And they've completely flipped now. And they're like, not in an election year.
Right. And that's the way it works for everything.
And in the meantime, the smartest person in the room, the actual Supreme Court justice that they're replacing, was on record saying that they should absolutely nominate and elect somebody during an election year.
You would assume that would happen because I don't think the election matters compared to what they're doing with the Supreme Court. Like,
the problem
if there's an opening, you put somebody back in.
The problem is a lot of people say that she's extremely conservative or has a right-wing agenda. The reality is, if you watched her on those Senate hearings, I mean, you can choose to believe her or not, but she's sitting here saying, I'm going to rule on the cases.
Yeah.
And
she got panned for a lot of that.
And they're saying, oh, she's a conservative. She's an original. I think it's originalist. That's the kind of judge she is. That's what that Scalia was, which was who she clerked for.
An originalist?
That means they make their decisions on their rulings based on the Constitution.
I gotcha.
Rather than saying, I want to interpret the Constitution, or this is what the Constitution should mean to us now. Mm-hmm. An originalist would say, nope, this is what the founding fathers intended. That's what I want to rule on. You can have an idea regardless of not whether you support that theory of judging. I don't know enough about
I don't know what's right
stuff,
or wrong.
And either does anybody commenting about it on Facebook.
Exactly. No, nobody does. I'm like, I'm not a smart man, but I think she'll be fine.
She will be fine.
I think she'll be fine. From what I've seen,
she will be fine.
Will do just fine.
We've already had so-called conservative members of the Supreme Court over the last couple years that have been voting opposite of what you would think they would vote.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about that. And it's like, these people these are the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
If you read up on that lady, she's the best of the best.
She really is.
And she's already in the federal judiciary. She's a circuit judge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a completely natural thing.
Progression.
And I'm sorry that you don't like the fact that that happened. But the fact is, an elected president nominated and an elected Senate confirmed a well-qualified person. End of story.
That's it. That's all you need to worry about. And I'm glad it was a well-qualified person. If it was somebody that had no reputation whatsoever and you're just like, yeah, this guy's going to be good.
Well,
I had no qualifications whatsoever. Obviously, that would be an issue.
Right.
But it wasn't as if she wasn't qualified.
Right.
She's very, very qualified.
I read something somebody was saying, oh, she wants to overturn gay marriage, which she's never said. And she's actually supported it. She's never said it, and she's never governed. One time she was critical. Okay, this is what they base it on. She was asked about that specific, because this was ruled 2 years ago in the Supreme Court, that federally gay marriage is legal.
Yes.
States can't restrict it. So she was critical of that ruling, saying she agreed with the dissent on that ruling, but only because the dissent wasn't that gay marriage shouldn't be legal. The dissent was it should be up to the states. So she said she agreed based on the Constitution that it should be up to the states. However, then she followed it up by, but this should never be even in a court. This should be decided by Congress. This shouldn't be decided by the Supreme Court. So that was exactly what she said on the issue. But people
makes a lot of sense.
But people twist that and they say she's against gay marriage.
Right.
Well, it's not that simple.
During her her hearing, or what's that called?
Confirmation hearing.
Yeah, confirmation hearing. They were asking her about Roe v. Wade, and she literally said, like, I'm neither for nor against it. It's like, this is something that's already been judged.
Case.
Like, I would have to look at the case, and she's like, and if I comment any way, that would say I'm for one way rather than the other. She's like, so I'm really not going to comment on the case because it's not my case. I have nothing to do with it. And if I make any comments, you're going to say I'm for one way, when in reality I'm impartial to the whole thing. And so her just saying that was like, well, she's kind of against that.
Well, I mean, she probably is. She's religious. She's Catholic.
Yeah.
But the point is, based on her record, I'm pretty confident in feeling assured. Just because she believes something personally,
I don't feel like that's gonna sway her like actual.
I mean, of course,
judgment.
let's live in reality.
In a way,
it is going to sway it a little bit. Here's the thing, though: the entire
But if you're
Supreme Court is based on one principle: precedent.
Yes.
The court case has already been ruled on. It will never get overturned. It doesn't matter how many conservative justices you put on the court.
Yeah.
They're not going to overturn that law.
Yeah.
Period. Now, can they allow states to have restrictions to some stuff? Probably, but I mean, that's what we're supposed to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? States making their own decisions.
I agree. That's enough of politics. We went 25 minutes into politics. That's enough.
Yes. I'm sorry.
It's hurting me.
That one was
starting to push me down.
It's been bugging me. So it just bugs me anyway, because everybody is so one-sided or other-sided, but not like with no, it's just like you're evil automatically. Like you're evil.
And it's really sad.
It is sad.
I like almost everyone. Like, I really do. And even people that I'm not necessarily, it's not that I don't like them. It's just like I'd rather not be around them. Why can't more people be like me? Yeah.
I ask myself that every day.
I just don't understand why more people can't be like me. It's so easy when you just don't care. Like, I don't really care what you believe.
Well, I think people would argue that.
I just want to have a podcast with you and want to be around you.
People would argue that. What do you mean you don't care? That guy's ruining the world. He's going to destroy everything. We're all going to die because of that guy, because he's so evil, and you not caring makes you complicit.
No, not really. I'm still going to go to Menards, get the stuff I need.
But if you don't vote for this guy, the businesses are all going to collapse. Menards won't be there. You won't even be able to get lumber. It will be the end of the world as we know it, and you will be shitting in a bucket, Jerry.
I've done it before. It's not really that big of a deal.
I shit in a bucket
a lot.
You're complicit.
But here's the real facts. I work for the federal government. I'm an inside man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So whatever you tell me, I'm going to go for the government. Whoever my direct boss is. And as of now, coming up in January, it's going to be Joe Biden. So he's my boss now. I have to go with what he says.
Yeah.
If we're going to, bomb Turkey, like, all right, I guess we're bombing Turkey.
I think
I don't know why we would bomb Turkey. I'm just saying. Like, if he said that, I'd be like,
bomb some turkey in Thanksgiving.
I guess we're bombing Turkey.
I think they should go back to the days where, because this is how it used to be. The person who won the most votes was president. The person second was vice president. So Joe Biden would be president and Trump would be vice president. That's the way we should go back. That's how it used to be.
It was?
Yeah, the first couple presidents were that way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It makes sense because I do remember seeing like a Democratic like president and a Republican vice president or vice versa.
Well, there weren't any Republicans until Abraham Lincoln. He founded the party.
Yeah, I know. But if you look, there have been two-party president and vice presidents.
Yeah. That's the way I think that's the way it should be.
That's pretty interesting.
There was a guy,
I don't feel like it would work.
There was a guy named Brett Weinstein. He's on Joe Rogan all the time. I really enjoy listening to him. He's an evolutionary biologist. In any case, he started this.
Is he the guy with the froey hair?
Yes. Well, that's probably Eric Weinstein, his brother.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
But anyway, so he started this thing called Unity 2020 was the name of the campaign.
Yeah.
And they went out and they were just discussing for this election, going out and finding like a super qualified Republican and a super qualified Democrat that were moderate and putting them together as on the ticket, like running as independent and running against Biden and Trump, which I think was a good idea.
Yeah.
And mind you, Brett Weinstein is a super liberal guy. Anyway, so this was his idea. He started this whole thing. Twitter banned his account.
Just for doing that?
Yeah.
Really?
They banned his account.
On what grounds?
Because they're super biased.
Really, they are.
And that would be bad for Biden, probably. So they banned his account. That's not right.
No, that's not right at all. That's been proven, too, that Twitter has been
and they're censoring people.
Really bad.
I think that's the next thing that the Supreme Court needs to do, because that is a Supreme Court issue. They need to force the social media companies to adhere to free speech laws.
Right, because they don't.
To not be allowed to censor.
That's crazy.
Because it is speech. I mean, I
Absolutely,
understand you're on a private platform, though, that you've opted into using based on their rules. However, these things have gotten so big now.
Yeah, it's different now.
They're like the town
When
square,
it was
right?
MySpace, I can understand that. Like, you got to do what MySpace tells you to do. But in today's day and age, the size that these platforms are, like the amount of impact that these platforms have in society, like in our regular day and age, you can't censor that kind of stuff. I mean, you can censor like vulgarity and whatever else, but speech or just what you're doing, no.
Yeah, that ain't right. That was one thing that was alarming about this election was the amount of that you're hearing from the left wing these days is like about censorship and First Amendment issues. And I'm always going to oppose that. That has always been like one of my big deals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about a lot of issues, but that's an important one for me. And I'm never going to support any person that.
Let me freely speak. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
Because everybody wants to know. Ian says dance monkeys.
Dance monkey. No, that's brass monkey. That's the tune I was going for. Oh wait, is he telling us as monkeys to dance?
Yeah.
But there's also that song.
Ian's going to be probably on our next episode, or one of the upcoming episodes.
One of the upcoming
texted
episodes.
us today saying he was in.
Yeah.
We just got to come up with a topic for him.
The topic will be Caddyshack.
No.
The topic will be, what does he like?
Hard rock music?
60s bebop.
All right, let's get some news going.
So yeah, we had the election. The whole reason we're doing this top 10 Sean Connery movies is because he has passed away.
Yep.
On October 31st, Sean Connery left this world.
91, 90-something years old.
Let's see. He was somewhere around
living
there,
in the
91.
Bahamas.
Oh, is that where he lived?
I mean, he nailed the thing.
He retired in the year 2003, I believe, or 2000, one of the two. But they claim that the last movie that he made was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But right before that, like around the same time, either after or before, he did Finding Forrester as well.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe those movies will be talked about later.
Yeah,
we'll never know.
That was recommended to us by Mr. Jim Bilmer.
Jim Bilmer told us to do this?
Yep. He's a big Sean Connery fan.
That's a good pull. So he passed away, and then one other little tidbit of news that happened this morning, another passing. Alex Trebek.
Oh.
Passed away at 80 years old this morning after his battle with pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I didn't know that for me,
Yeah.
especially because I've really been watching that over the last 2 years and extremely invested in that. So
Yeah.
This is the first time hearing of it.
I apologize for your loss, Chris, and it's going to change Jeopardy forever. I texted David Siedentop this morning when I found out, saying like that he passed away, and David answered with, "What is sadness?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, 2020 takes another one," but I didn't know he was that bad, like that far along, because I know, as far as I knew, he was still like recording episodes up until the summer.
Yeah, I mean, he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer from the gate, and he made it 2 years, which is unbelievable.
Is that how long? 2 years?
Unheard of. I mean, I think it was a couple of years. Yeah.
Holy smokes! Yeah, he passed away this morning, and so I don't know what lies for Jeopardy. Well, I'm interested to see. Are they going to replace him, or is it just going to be done?
I think it should be done, but I know he would have wanted to be somebody to replace him. So I think he had even said some people.
Oh, he did?
I think I remember reading something about that. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I ever want to watch Jeopardy without Alex Trebek.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a really tough one.
Yeah, it is. It sucks. That's it. That's all I had for news. Like, those are the only two things. They were sad ones.
Okay, I got some more non-sad ones.
Okay.
Or some non-sad ones to just bring in.
Some more or only just sad ones.
No.
Not sad ones.
Not sad ones.
Happy ones.
Happy ones.
Regular ones.
Disney Plus has been a good platform, but pretty much all they have is The Mandalorian for adults.
That's true.
So I've not really been able to recommend it necessarily to people that aren't hardcore into Star Wars because unless you have kids, if you have kids, it's,
well,
you
right.
have to have it.
That's what I was going to say. Like in my world, it hasn't been a bad thing. There hasn't been a ton on it for me besides Mandalorian, but
it's a go-to every day. Disney Plus is on every day in our house. Great ad. Anyway, so they've only had The Mandalorian thus far. Obviously, we know that they're working on these Marvel shows. WandaVision looks incredible.
Yes.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and the Obi-Wan show.
So there's lots of good stuff coming, but it's like way down the road.
Yeah, we really don't know when.
Well, they've announced a new one today or last week.
Really?
Willow series officially a go at Disney Plus.
That's a first I'm hearing too. Willow is I shouldn't say one of my favorite movies, but a movie that I have enjoyed thoroughly throughout my life, and I've watched it a lot. Young Pagoda that comes on the show, Nathan Klein. I remember watching it with him when we were deployed because I got it sent to me, and I love Willow. I think it's great. Warwick Davis, man.
I just tried not that long ago trying to get the kids to watch it. They would not, and I forgot the entire beginning is extremely slow. Like when they're walking around the village and he finds the baby, and then they have to have like a conference of who's like gonna go.
It takes a minute.
It wasn't not quite as I enjoyed it just as much.
Yeah,
but my kids were like, "What is going on here?"
Isn't it weird that we enjoy those type of movies? And when I watched that for the first time, I was really young. I was a young kid watching Willow.
Oh, me too. But I rewatched it a lot, like growing up.
Yeah, so did I, but I'm just saying, like, the first time we saw it was when we were really young, and it held our attention enough to say, we should watch this again.
I mean, it's definitely a kid's movie.
It is. Just like, why can't I think of it? Oh, that Labyrinth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a little darker, but...
It's much darker, but
all right.
I like Labyrinth, and I think it is still...
from Variety.
Kids.
Disney Plus has confirmed a sequel series taking place years after the events of the original Ron Howard-directed pick, heading into production next year. Howard is returning to the project as executive producer. So Ron Howard's executive producing. That's a good thing.
Wow.
And he's directed a Star Wars movie.
He did.
Yeah. Solo, right?
Was it? Yeah, it was Solo. I was going to say Rogue One, but that's not right. That was Solo.
Warwick Davis is also an executive producer.
Good.
He will again be playing Willow.
For the series?
Yeah, a lot older, but he still looks super young. I love that his show, Life's Too Short.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite shows.
It's very good.
Huge Ricky Gervais fan and Stephen Merchant, both of them, whatever. But they're kind of side characters.
It's hilarious.
Oh, it's great. It's one of those shows like The Office that's like painfully awkward so many times that you're just like.
Warwick Davis he's
a good actor.
Has done an incredible job throughout his career, like in every movie he's ever been in. And he's been in so many things that people don't even know.
Everything. Anything
with makeup with short people. Warwick Davis was behind that mask.
What do you think is his most like popular role? Do you think it is Star Wars? Because he plays an Ewok, but he's in a suit.
Yeah, he's Wicket.
Yeah.
So I would say that is probably his most popular role. I think that's what he's...
Or Harry Potter. He plays the Professor Sprout? The little
Griffle
professor.
Yeah.
So he's actually got more of a role.
He does. I don't think it's Sprout.
No, I don't think
it starts with a G.
I rewatched recently. Well, never mind. I'll talk about that later.
I don't know. No, maybe it is Harry Potter. Maybe it's Star Wars. I don't know. I think everybody just knows what he's done. Like people just know he's been around.
What else has he been in?
I've heard people argue me and say like, "Oh, he was R2D2." He was not.
No,
he was not R2D2.
Kenny something.
Kenny G. You're right.
Kenny Powers. Yeah, Kenny G. That's more of a trumpet. All right, you want to hear what he's been in?
Oh yeah,
Return of the Jedi, obviously.
Yes.
Labyrinth. He was a goblin.
Yes.
Willow was his first like out of makeup role. I guess.
Like starring role.
Obviously, Leprechaun.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I'm the Leprechaun.
That's pretty well known for that. Star Wars Episode 1. I didn't know that.
What was he? What's it say he was?
It just says Yoda, walk-in shots, Weasel, and Wade. So he was in character for anybody small, basically.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, obviously. Professor Phileas Flitwick.
Phileas Flitwick. I just saw a description
and he
of
was
his...
the goblin at the bank.
Yes, he was. But I just saw a description of that guy's wand and why he was so good at like combat with a wand.
Really?
Yeah, it was on TikTok. You wouldn't understand.
You're getting deep. He was in, a lot of other stuff that are smaller roles than I'm not. Those were his big ones, obviously. So, yeah. I'm excited about that. I really am.
Yes, a Willow series. What's it going to be on?
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
I've said it like 8,000 times.
Sorry.
Number 2, we got another new show.
Okay. Another new show on Disney Plus?
No, not
on Disney Plus.
Not on Disney Plus. Geeky Rant sending us this one. Smokey and the Bandit is getting a remake series.
What? You got peanut butter in your ears or something?
Yep, it is coming back. I freaking love that movie.
As do I.
I can't wait to see how they're going to completely screw it up because there's no way they're going to portray the South the same way they did in the original.
No,
so,
not in the slightest.
I sent going to be like garbage politics in it, I guarantee.
I sent an original poster for Smokey and the Bandit to a Patreon subscriber, Sean Johnson, for his bundle of Snarf. Really great poster. And he didn't know where it came from because it came like separate. It was shipped separately for some reason. So the week prior, he had gotten a poster for a movie, not from us. Just a random poster showed up his door. A week later, on the same day, our poster showed up on his door, and he sent me a picture of it, of both of them. And he's like, "Did you send me these?" I said, "One of them I did. I didn't send the other one." And he still has no idea where these posters were coming from. But it's a good poster, and I would like to have it. Once I saw it, I was like, man, I kind of want that poster.
There's a Smokey and the Bandit comic book as well.
There is?
Yeah, I think it's from back in the 80s.
Is Frog in it?
I don't know. By the way, Jim Seedentop says Alex was not the original Jeopardy host. Art Fleming was.
When did it start? Did it start in the 60s?
He should have framed that in the form of a question.
Yeah. Yeah, he should have.
But ding, who is a Jeopardy expert? Anybody with the name
Seedentop. Yes. You have to be a Jeopardy expert in order to even leave their house as an adult. You're not allowed to leave until you are an expert on Jeopardy. I didn't know that. I thought Jeopardy started with Alex.
Yeah, nope. But anyway, Smokey and the Bandit, executive producer, Danny McBride.
That doesn't surprise me.
And he's a funny guy.
He's a very funny guy.
I believe Seth MacFarlane's involved, but I don't know that for sure.
That'd be fun.
So anyway,
it should be funny at least.
Yeah, it'll definitely be funny. And I feel like Danny McBride has a good Southern, if you watch Righteous Gemstones, or really any of his stuff.
Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down. That's a little ridiculous, but I like Vice Principals too.
I never saw that.
That's really good. It's really.
Is it good?
Oh yeah, it's funny.
I never saw any of that. My first introduction was Eastbound and Down to him.
Yeah. I love Eastbound and Down, but it completely goes off the rails towards the end of that series. Not bad, just
ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I love Will Ferrell in it. I mean, obviously that's classic.
Yes. Isn't that
Ashley something?
He's the car salesman.
Yeah.
And then have you seen the blooper reel that's on YouTube where it's like, you've never seen that blooper?
No.
I've seen it so many times and I laugh my butt off. There's a part where, so he comes up, Danny McBride's staring at the guy from The Office.
Jim Halpert?
No.
Rainn Wilson?
No, he's in the warehouse.
Oh.
Daryl in the warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was in the show too. And they're literally standing in a car lot and they're staring at each other. And then Will Ferrell's character comes up, right next to him. And he's standing there looking at him and he's like, I can't remember what the conversation starts with, but he's like, I can feel it in my plums.
Oh, I have seen that.
Deep in my plums.
Wasn't that in the show?
Yeah, but it's a blooper reel because
right.
it was like when he was doing the takes for it.
Yeah.
And he's like, He's like, gonna take him to farmer's market. But there's one point where he keeps going with this stuff, and he's like, one night I was on top of my wife Lisa, and he's like, we're hot and sweaty. He said, my boy Julian opens the door, and she says, and my wife Lisa says, Julian, no, go. And he says, no, let the boy watch. And it's just all ad-libbed in front of them, and they just all lose it. But it's some of the funniest stuff. I every once in a while I just look it up on YouTube just to watch it to make myself feel alive again.
I love that show. Yeah, but out of the 3, Righteous Gemstones, absolutely.
I still haven't watched that.
Me.
I don't have a subscription to HBO at the
Goodman
moment.
And Walter Goggins is amazing. He should win an Emmy for that.
Really? Walter Goggins?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good show.
That's what Patreon subscriber and longtime fan Erica Fry said it was phenomenal as well.
Yeah, it is.
But honestly, I've never heard much else about it besides from you two. Are other people watching this show?
Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, nobody else has told me about it. So as of now, there's only 2 people that's ever watched it. So it's guaranteed canceled.
I don't. I think it got a season 2.
Lucky.
Danny McBride. He's made HBO a lot of money. So
John Goodman.
Yeah. But
That's
Danny McBride's the writer, creator, and producer.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. He's getting some cash.
Anyway.
Some of that cash.
We
give
got
me
some
that cash.
new viewers on there. We're going to be doing top 10 Sean Connery movies tonight.
Yes.
But you want to do what we're watching first? Because that'll probably take a little bit of time.
I think we should really quick. Yeah, okay. Get it out of the way. You don't have any more news? Neither do I.
No, I just wrote Willow, Smoking the Bandit, Politics.
Okay. Yep. Got it. And I have Election Week 2020 and then Death.
Ooh.
No,
it was Halloween.
It was, but it's sad.
We haven't talked about Halloween.
What about Halloween?
It happened.
It did happen. You know, you go and get candy.
Did you dress up?
No, I didn't. I did last
Wait,
this
I
last
saw you
weekend.
on Halloween.
Right, we were together. We were together up in the Elburn. I tell you what, and you said this, like if you have the chance to go up close to the suburbs or up to a different city, like where richer people live, go there because all they pass out are full-size candy bars.
Full-size candy bars, a lot of them handing out booze, beer, wine.
Our kids were pulling in some candy.
It was insane.
And it's not a huge subdivision.
One guy's just giving out $20 bills.
Yeah.
Forking them out. I was when we said we were going up there, our wives kind of made that all happen. I was a little bit upset at first. Not upset, but I was bummed, I should say.
Yeah.
I know you want to trick or treat in your hometown.
Right, and walk around with
kind
friends.
Of a tradition. So I was kind of looking forward to that. So I was a little bummed out by that. And so we got up there, and after we were trick or treating up there, I'm just like, what is wrong with Mizan? Like, these people are terrible compared to this is like a whole different world. I think we've been getting gypped all these years by cheap Mizan people.
I think so too, because
giving away
up there,
like little mini candy bars and crap.
Kristen was worried about at the lady's house that we were at. She was worried about like people not even going to give out candy because it's an older community. She's like, I don't know if they're even going to have candy or if it's going to be a big deal this year or whatnot. Then we start going to these houses, and they're throwing out king size Snicker bars to people. I was like, where are we at? Are we on Mars? Because this doesn't happen anywhere else.
I saw one garage had like 2 full-time masseuses.
Just
giving massages.
Yeah,
to parents.
I met my therapist there.
Yeah,
had a whole sesh. Felt real great afterwards.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. So anyway, go up to Elburn if you want to get candy because Elburn's where it's at.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
We're going to do
what we're watching.
What we're watching, yes.
What have you been watching, Jerry?
So there's just 2 things. I'll start with the one that nobody else is watching ever, and it's mindless TV, and I literally just started watching it like yesterday, but I've watched it a couple times, and they've made it into this reality. It's a reality series, but they're putting people in jail, and they're like, I think it's called 60 Days In. I can't remember, but I was watching it today again, and it's literally where they put these undercover people into a jail to figure out like who the gang members are, who's dealing drugs, how the drugs are getting into the jail. It's a real jail in Arizona. The sheriff wants to find out what's going on, but this was the fifth. I started on the 5th season, so apparently this has been going on a while.
Been jailing a lot of people.
And
it's just like Kamala Harris.
Yeah, absolutely. They just all they do is live in a jail. It's a real jail. People have gotten killed. There's fights all the time. There's one guy that's in the jail that they have to stay in there for 60 days and they're supposed to find out what's going on, right? And they have specific tasks that they have to find out. Well, this one guy is just a fan of the show. He's like, man, I've been watching the show for a long time and I can't believe I'm on it now. He has no credentials whatsoever, has nothing behind him. Like other people are like, this guy's a police officer. This guy was in the military for 25 years. This guy was doing this. Like this woman was in the Army and the Navy and she taught combatives and things like that. Like, all right, I can understand that, throwing him in a dangerous situation. This guy is literally just Joe Schmo.
He's like, hi, my name is Glenn. I'm a tax attorney.
That's like exactly what he is. And he's just like, man, I've been a fan for a long time. And then they throw him in this jail, and he literally stands there like this. He's just like blank-faced, looking around like, all right, well, that guy looks out of place. And then they have these cameras set up in the jail all over. And this big fight happened.
There must be camera crews walking around. I mean, obviously, people must know what's going on.
No, it's just cameras on the wall.
Oh, my God.
So it's like these little cameras on the wall that it's
what is the liability here? Are these minimum security prisons?
A person was murdered. Like, I take it back.
According
it was
to
a
the
lieutenant.
producers.
Yeah, it was a lieutenant that they had that was there, and they were showing pictures of it, but it's blurred
One
out.
of the persons that was...
No. A cop. Like a person that worked at the jail was stabbed like 21 times and went to the hospital.
I don't believe this.
And they show people literally punching each other, like actual fights where people are getting bloodied up and like fighting each other between like the black groups, the black groups, the white groups, the Latinos. Like there's groups in jail, you know, and they just have to live with them. And it is a terrible show. It absolutely is. I'm not telling anybody to watch
watching this show.
Why?
Because it just seems
it's on Netflix.
Terrible trash idea.
It's on Netflix, and it kind of caught my eye. I think it's kind of fun.
Okay, I might check it out.
And they immediately told the women, so all the women are in the same block, and there's 3 women. Like one of them has to find out about drugs. One of them has to find out, well, whatever. And they immediately told them, they're like, listen, like stay apart from each other. Try not to get in a clique with each other. Like we don't want all 3 of you being friends in prison because, you know, separate yourselves to try to find out more information. Day 1. They sit at the same table and start eating lunch, and then they like are inseparable from them. It's like these dummies. And the sheriff literally comments on it and says, we told these girls not to become friends and like have a clique, and they immediately became friends and are inseparable. I don't know. It's trash TV that I'm watching for no other reason than to waste time.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Anything else you've been watching?
One more, and it's the exact same as you.
Yeah. Well, before we get to that, one other thing I've been watching occasionally. I haven't had a lot of time because I've been strip tilling, but I started watching the new season on Hulu of Cosmos. I think it's called Cosmos Possible World. You know Cosmos, the show?
No.
Neil deGrasse Tyson hosted.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes.
Originally it was Carl Sagan.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a new season. And it's weirdly coming out like sporadically throughout the year, apparently. I just found out about it, so it's on Hulu. So, nice. But it's different than... So I loved the first Cosmos series because it's basically like Neil deGrasse Tyson, and each episode is like covering another topic about science.
Yeah.
Not all of them are astrophysics.
I've watched some of that.
The original
show, because it came out on Discovery, didn't it?
No, Fox. It's on Fox.
I thought the original...
And they put a lot of money into it.
I remember watching the first season of it.
I think Seth MacFarlane was the producer.
Was involved with it, yeah.
Because he's a huge fan of Carl Sagan and the original series. But anyway, like one episode might be on genetics. One episode might be on this, that. Anyway, it's amazing. I love it. Everybody should watch it. I don't know where you can find it. Fox streaming app, I guess.
Hulu, I'm sure.
The original wasn't on there. Oh, yeah, it was.
If it's on Fox, it would have to be.
It's on Hulu. Anyway, so I started watching the newer series from this year, which like it's still Neil deGrasse Tyson, but every episode's on like stuff for the future. Like what's the future going to be like?
Really?
And I didn't quite like it as much, so I actually quit and went back and just am now rewatching the original series.
Okay.
Anyway, so there's that. I love Cosmos. If anybody knows any other good, see, my problem with Cosmos is I don't want episodes on other scientific things. I want every episode about astrophysics and cosmology because that's what I'm interested in.
I agree.
So if anybody's got another type of that series, give me a shout out. I've watched Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman. That's really good.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is, again, on TikTok, and he puts up incredible videos that are just like a 1-minute snippet of information that...
He's one of my favorite people in the world. I listen to his podcast.
Did you know that it takes 90 minutes for a satellite to travel around the Earth. But it would also take you 90 minutes if you went straight through the Earth. If there was a hole straight through the Earth, the gravitational pull would be pulling you so fast towards the center that you would hit the center and then go past it because you're flying so fast. You would go past it to the other side of the Earth and then come back. And you would reach, your first starting point in 90 minutes.
Really?
And so that amount of time is the same to go around the whole planet.
Well, wouldn't it just be some calculation of diameter, radius, and circumference?
Isn't that weird, though, to go through the Earth and then the gravitational pull's pulling you so fast that you overshoot it the same distance that you just started from?
Here's my problem
and then
with
you come back.
It doesn't feel right because is he factoring air resistance? Because
there is no air resistance. You're in space.
If you're going through the atmosphere, through the middle of the Earth, there is.
There's just a hole.
But you're still going to go through the atmosphere.
I'm just telling you what he said. I have no idea. Well, I don't think about it that way. I don't care about it.
When you came back to the original spot, you wouldn't come quite to that spot.
I think he's thinking of the Earth as a donut.
Okay.
No air.
A donut.
No, a donut.
Gotcha.
A do-not.
Well, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I like everything he's in. I'm not a huge fan of his podcast, Star Talk.
It's kind of boring.
Because it's like, I like it, but it's very produced. It's like a clip show.
Yeah.
And in the live segments that they do with the guests, they're not really doing science as much as like trying to be funny, I guess, sometimes.
That's why I got out of it.
And then they go to the segments, which is usually like an interview with whatever expert. But they're real short. And then it's broken up in a weird like NPR. I think it's an NPR show or something.
I think it is produced by NPR.
Yeah, so it's broken up in a weird way. I still like it, but it's not my favorite podcast. I wish he had like a more dedicated podcast.
Just on his own.
On his own. That'd be amazing. I love him on
not produced, just done.
Right.
Like ours.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We should get him
Which is basically perfect. That's what we're saying.
The big one, of course, we've both been watching is The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Started back up, season 2 on Disney+. 2 episodes have been out. We will talk about them now. Spoilers.
Yes, it will be heavily spoiled.
There's nothing that important to spoil, but there will be some spoilers.
Except for death.
I loved both episodes, but the first one was my favorite.
Yeah, the first episode by way outshadowed the second one. I'm not a huge fan of this second episode. It's fine.
The beginning of it was awesome.
Yeah, beginning of it was great. It just fell a little flat for me. There was not much going on.
I like the use of the practical creature effects. I thought that was a cool shout out to the originals. And I just enjoyed seeing those types of like Muppet-like aliens. I thought that was awesome. That was one of my favorite parts of it.
I agree with that. I enjoyed the part where Baby Yoda was like, or the child constantly was eating those eggs.
Oh yeah, people have been like going crazy on online about it, all pissed off about it.
Really? Why? Pissed off? Why?
Because people are insane, Jerry.
So Amy was mad about it. She's like, "This is annoying. Why does he keep doing that?"
No, not annoyed. Being like, "Oh, how could they make that character like kill those babies?"
No way.
Yes, people were upset
about that. Are you serious?
Online.
It's an egg. It's not a baby yet. It hasn't even been fertilized.
Yeah, that's right.
it's anyway, not anything.
It's crazy.
I also didn't enjoy the scene where she was in like the bathtub.
That was
with
weird.
The eggs, and they're like catching the eggs. It's just like, this is, as soon as that happened, I was like, this is a strange episode.
But the spider creatures were they the same spider type creatures from Star Wars Rebels? Because that was a big
That I don't know
character
about.
in Star. So in Star Wars, you never watched it. That's right. In Star Wars Rebels, they set up a new base on this other planet, and it's like an uninhabited planet, they think, and they set up their base, and there are those exact looking big crawling spider creatures.
Really?
And they're like a huge problem when they're trying to establish this base.
Oh.
Because they're like very persistent.
Yeah,
and
they
dangerous
just keep coming.
until they can figure out to build like a fence. And then a lot of the later episodes when Ezra's doing his like Jedi training, and they're going out there, it's about them having, that's like the existential threat when they're like out doing their training.
Sure.
And Kanan, who's blind, he's blind towards the end of the series.
Okay.
Because of something that happens. Anyway, he goes out to these spiders blind, basically, and having to survive in the wilderness, like as part of his like final Jedi training to himself.
Yeah.
And he learns the secret of how
Spiders.
they live off of fear. So that's how he learns how to control his fear and confront his fear.
Wow. So they don't attack him because he's not scared.
Right.
Basically, he has no fear.
It's
Interesting.
a deep, amazing show that everybody needs to watch.
Yeah, I need to start watching that. I posted a thing on our social media on Facebook about Star Wars. Their fan page had put out an article saying that the spiders were based off of a sketch that was for Empire Strikes Back. When Luke goes back to Dagobah, he encounters one of these spiders.
Oh, that's awesome. So maybe it has nothing to do with the spiders from
I don't know, but
Rebels.
I posted it tonight because I saw it, and it just has a sketch of Luke encountering the big spider on Dagobah, and it's the identical creature. Like the big one, it looks identical to them.
Oh, really?
And then I had just saw it today on Mandalorian, so I was like, oh man, it's like another callback. The Mandalorian is huge on callbacks from different things in the Star Wars world.
Oh, big time. Because Dave
And
Filoni is the biggest Star Wars fan in the world.
I love it, but it fits in perfect because this is all happening after the fact, right? Like after everything's the fall of the Empire and everything like that. And it just fits so perfectly. So what I loved in episode 1 was that you meet a new character. What's his name?
Timothy Oliphant's character.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think he'll be a recurring one. But
No. What's his name though in the show? You should know his name.
It's like Kaz
Von Drake or something.
I can't remember.
Something like that. So you meet him. He's like the marshal of this town, and the Mandalorian's there thinking he's encountering another Mandalorian because that's who he's searching for right now. And no, not the case. He just has stolen armor, which is
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett's. It's Boba Fett's armor. As soon as you see that, I was like, oh,
Of course.
shit,
It's on
like that's
Tatooine.
awesome. Yeah, I know. I just thought it was awesome that you see his armor. He's also later in the episode, so he's wearing Boba Fett's armor and riding a land speeder, which is made out of Anakin Skywalker's pod racer. It's his engine, one of his engines from his pod racer.
Oh, I guess I didn't notice that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Cool.
So the Mandalorian's on a regular like
Speeder
bike. He's on the engine of Anakin Skywalker's pod racer, and I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome.
And I had saw a picture of that. There was a meme that said, "You're never as cool as," or how'd they phrase it? Like, you're not as cool as whatever unless you ride on Darth Vader's pod racer with Boba Fett's armor. Because it's pretty sweet.
No, I love the episode. I loved it. It was very Deadwood. The bartender was actually the bartender from
Deadwood.
Timothy Oliphant's he's great, obviously. I love just like the simple, obvious storytelling from a different perspective. I mean, we've seen that story before in other things, that idea play out, this person meets the other person, they got to team up to take on the threat to the town. I mean, it's
very cut and dry.
Very Jetpack Samurai like.
It is.
But I loved it. I loved the whole more in depth you get with the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders, because I've always been super interested in them, but you never get anything.
You never get anything out of them or hear about
other
them.
than the fact that Anakin killed them all, the women
and the children.
children.
Yeah, He did.
I love that.
Killed all of them.
That's one of my favorite scenes in that movie. And Attack of the Clones is an underrated movie because of the
Stop
moment
it.
when he goes out to find his mom. And he's like on the speeder bike going through, and that's the first time you hear the
Yeah.
Duel of the Fates song.
Yeah.
And that's like the first indication you have of him becoming Darth Vader. I think that's an underrated scene and movie. Now that women and children part's terrible, obviously, but no. But anyway, yeah, I love the first episode, and was it? Yeah, it was the beginning of the second episode though. I really loved. Was that when he got ambushed by
Yes.
the group? That was an amazing fight scene.
Yeah, it was very good.
It was incredible.
And then he's like a Jawa, I think, but he's not dressed in the same type
I don't
uniform.
think it was a Jawa, but
Well, but
a
he
similar
says
looking.
he says to him, he's like, you could take that bike. There's a bunch of scrap money there, and they're scrappers. So I don't know if it was or not, but he ends up giving him his jetpack. He's like, all right, yeah, you can have it. And the guy runs away, and then he like beeps a little button, and the jetpack takes off, and he just makes him go sky high in the air, and then he turns it off and just drops on the ground.
But the little things, like when
awesome.
the jetpack finally lands in front of him
And
then
falls
just
over.
falls over, that added so much.
I know. Graham was watching it with us, and he started cracking up.
Yeah.
But it is little things like that that make this show very, very good.
That scene made the whole second episode worth it. I agree, it wasn't quite as compelling. I did love the fact that he gets saved by the New Republic X-Wing pilots at the end. And
Yes.
it just felt, the whole second episode felt super vintage to me.
It was very vintage.
And that's what I loved about it. The first episode was straight Western, and I loved it for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
Again, they're doing this thing. They did that with the first season, and we talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
Every episode had like a little different mini theme,
Yep.
a different style of filmmaking. This one was a Kurosawa samurai movie. This one was a Western movie.
The only problem I had with the second one is that I felt like, so I say it now, but I'm assuming it will have more impact later on in the series or in this season, but it felt like it wasn't moving any story forward whatsoever. It felt like no story moved forward. It did nothing to what the Mandalorian season 2 is.
Either did the first one, really. I mean, the only story we've gotten right now is he's looking for Mandalorians.
Yes, and that's it.
And the second one,
I think it might be a little bit of an impact from the first episode, just because he did find Boba Fett's armor. You get to see.
Oh, of course, that'll come back later.
You see that at the end of the show, like spoilers, like you see Boba Fett at the end of the show. It's got to be him because he's on Tatooine. He fell in a Sarlacc pit years prior. That's got to be who it is. Anyway,
it makes me listen to the song "Fett's Vet" all the time by MC Chris.
Yeah.
I love that song.
I know you do.
It's amazing.
It's fine.
I listen to it all the time.
But the second episode just felt like, I don't want to say a waste of time, because I don't think it will be, because he's going to a certain place for these eggs where her husband's supposed to have information on Mandalorians. So there's a purpose that he's going there. It just,
season 2,
everything that happened in that episode was just like, well, I didn't need it.
Episode 2 to me felt very much like I found this. Now I got to do that to get to here, to do that. It just felt very like Rise of Skywalker-ish. Like, now we got to go to here.
You're
and
right.
then this happens. Now we got to go to here.
And there's no
this
way
happens.
he would have outran X-Wings. There's no way. I mean, it was very good piloting on his end.
That part was cool too.
A Razor Crest like plane that he has, or ship that he has, is not going to get away from X-Wings. They would have shot him down.
It's no Slave One.
He would have been dead. No, it's not even close to a Slave One. I don't know. It was fine, but all in all, The Mandalorian is phenomenal.
Love it.
Everybody should watch it. If you haven't watched it yet, start at season 1 and work your way through.
It's not possible to not like this show.
The first season was only 24-minute episodes, 25-minute episodes.
Really?
Yes, they were 30-minute episodes.
I don't remember that.
That's why I texted you this morning and said the season 2 is longer. Each episode in season 2 was 45 minutes. The first season was only a half hour.
Oh, okay. I believe you.
It blew me away because I was like, wait a minute, this is 45 minutes?
Season 2 premiere was 52 minutes.
Yeah, and the second one
Season 1 episodes ranged from 30 to 46 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
I just remember them. I remember them being like 30 minutes long.
I like the fact that they can do things like this now with streaming. They can make the episode as long as they needed to make.
Yep.
I like
to tell the story instead of cut it up.
Last Kingdom, where every episode's like an hour on the nose. But it does feel long sometimes.
Yeah, they do. Last Kingdom blows me away because of how much story they go through in one episode.
It's crazy.
I've said it before on previous episodes that we've made of Snarf Talk, and these writers need to be applauded. They need awards. They need a break because they have written so much content per episode that it's unbelievable. Like I remember when we wrote Fourth Reich and put out our first issue, like I put it on Reddit for people to look at and give us a little critiques and stuff, and we got some feedback back. And one of them was that you're chewing through so much story, you'll never be able to keep up with this. Like you're telling too much in one issue.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that, and I was like, man, they're kind of right. Like we are moving
like that
pretty
one
fast
book
pace.
could have been 5 issues.
Yeah, like we could have broke that up into a lot. And I was like, man, they're right. That's a really fast pace. Last Kingdom, they don't take any of that information at all. Like nobody's ever told them that, and they're like, put as much as you possibly can.
They never
in one
posted to our
Reddit,
our comic books on Reddit.
Yeah, they should have because it's just so much.
Yeah,
I guess they shouldn't have because the show is just very, very good.
They've done 10 seasons worth of story in 5 seasons.
They have, and that's why they'll have to end after the 5th season.
Yeah.
Because everybody's brains are dead.
So yeah, Mandalorian is a win. I wasn't even worried for a second.
Oh no, I wasn't at all. I was just very excited for it.
Yeah.
I don't care what they give us. I don't care if it was just.
And I don't feel like it's better or worse than season 1. It just feels like an extension thereof.
Which is perfect because of the way they label the episodes as well.
Yeah.
It's like chapter 9, chapter 10. It's like just a book that you keep flipping through the pages.
I wonder how many seasons,
it's the same story.
If they have an idea in mind, or if they're just going to keep going with it.
I'm sure they have an end point.
This doesn't feel like the kind of thing that just goes on for 10 years.
No, it can't.
It seems like 3, 4, maybe 5 seasons.
They have to have an end point as to where the child goes. Right. Like he's going to have to deliver them somewhere or him somewhere.
But then they can go anywhere from that.
Right. And then Mando just lives his life, and I guess you could tell a story about that, but I think the main story
I still maintain my favorite episode to date is your least favorite episode. The one where he goes to the small village.
I don't think that's my least favorite episode. I guess it was of season 1 at the time. Because it just was overshadowed by so many other episodes.
Or that last one.
To me.
Was it the last one? The one where they're going through the river of lava and
yeah, that's the last one.
The droid sacrifices himself. Oh, that's such a good episode.
Amy and I rewatched that yesterday because she was catching up on Mandalorian. She loves it. But she wanted to watch the last episode of the first season before she started the new season just to refresh her brain. And when that happened again, I was like, oh, man. It's like we've lived so much with this droid. And Amy had no connection to him whatsoever. She had forgotten about all of that. And then he sacrifices himself. And I was like, that's a really sad part. She's like, oh, is it? I was like, yeah. Like we've lived a life with this droid and he's supposed to kill everyone, but now he saved him and he's a nurse droid and he brought him back to life and sacrificed himself. Like he doesn't have a brain, but he's doing things like a human would. And I started getting really in depth about this droid. She's like, okay, all right. It's like, well, it's a sad part, and it hit me hard for in the first season.
I'm gonna have a hard time waiting week for week on this. I want more.
I thought that, but the second episode creeped up on me really fast. This week went by really fast, and all of a sudden,
but now
I realized oh shoot, I got another episode to watch.
Yeah, I actually didn't even watch it till this morning.
Yeah, that's how you were watching at the same time I was this morning when I texted you.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we've been watching.
That's all we've been watching at all. Nothing else.
Is it time for the top 10?
It is time for our top 10 Sean Connery movies of all time. And mind you, These are our picks.
Our picks.
This is not going to be like what is rated as his top 10 movies of all time that got him awards. No, sir. Or ma'am. Or child. It is what we like, what I like, what Chris likes, and we're going to rank those movies as our top 10. Don't take this as like, what should be put into the, Film Hall of Fame, whatever that's called. Because they're not.
Yeah.
Some of them are not going to be that.
And
mine aren't.
Obviously, we're doing this one because of the timeliness of his passing, and then Tim requested it. Probably wouldn't have been one that I would do without some sort of an imprint. I'm not honestly a huge Sean Connery fan.
Right.
Not a fan.
Right.
Kind of indifferent.
Yeah, I've been the same way. He was a little bit before our time.
Yeah, and I haven't seen yet. We caught him at the end of his career.
Right.
I'll be honest. A lot of them, when I went and looked at his full filmography, a lot of them I haven't seen.
I haven't either.
Most of them I haven't seen, to be honest. So, like you said, I picked ones that I have seen. A lot of them I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember all that well. But that's what I picked.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I did a little bit of research on some of them to refresh my memory. I've got some notes down because obviously I've seen all of these movies, and some of them I haven't seen recently, but there are some really good movies on here that everybody has most likely seen and enjoyed, and this dude acted his ass off in these movies.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He comes in it with a Shakespearean, poetic
and just
type
doesn't
acting.
Give a fuck about his accent.
Not at all. He's not going to change his accent. He's going to be who he is, and he's going to steal your wife.
All right, we'll go with well, before I start my number 10, there was one that I had never heard of.
What's that?
But I watched the trailer when I was doing research, and I want to see it more than anything now. The Man Who Would Be King.
Okay, yeah. So he was in that with Michael Caine. Michael Caine. Yeah, and I saw that as well and was reading about it, and I feel like it's something I need to watch because it sounds really good.
I watched the trailer. It looks awesome.
And
Two rogue ex-soldiers, former non-commissioned officers in the British Army, who set off from the late 19th century British India in search of an adventure and ended up in Kafiristan, where one is taken for a god and made their king. It looks amazing.
Which is Sean Connery. So Sean Connery looks as a deity. They think of him as a deity, and they make him as king.
Deity?
Deity? Definitely
deity.
I don't think so. I think it's deity.
I'm going to tell you with 100% certainty, it is not deity.
You sure?
Yep.
All right.
Deity.
I don't know. Either way, that's what it said in the description, and it sounded really good.
Yeah, it's based on a Rudyard Kipling novel.
Say that again?
Rudyard Kipling. You know him?
Rudyard Kipling. Now I do.
Jungle Book?
He wrote that?
Yeah.
I didn't know
that. Yeah. He was like a
guy that wrote books.
Old, famous author. Yeah, the Jungle Book was probably his most famous thing. Anyway.
Nice.
So, my number 10. I'm going to catch a lot of shit for this. All right? I'm going to tell you right now.
All right.
There was a lot of movies I could have picked from. A lot of, especially Bond movies and stuff. I picked a movie for my number 10.
I love
that
Bond
I will
movies.
admit I have never seen. I've never seen this movie.
Oh.
But, again, just reading about the movie, I'm like, this has got to be in my top 10 because I want to see it more than anything.
Yeah.
And it's Time Bandits.
I've never seen it, and I didn't put it in mine.
It was co-written, produced by Terry Gilliam, from Monty Python. So it's a Monty Python movie.
It's a Monty Python movie, yeah.
Starring Sean Connery and John Cleese.
That I didn't know.
And John Cleese. I love Monty Python. I love John Cleese. I've heard of the movie over the years. I guess I never saw it.
No.
Because I watched the trailer and nothing looked familiar to me.
Did it come out in 81 or something like that?
It came out in 81. That's right.
That's what I thought.
And I'm just such a fan of John Cleese and such a fan
He's so good.
of Monty Python that I want to see it, and I guarantee it's good. It looked good. The trailer was awesome. So
Yeah, I read about it. It sounded good, but I too have not seen that movie.
He plays King Agamemnon, like from ancient Greece.
Really?
Yeah. So I want to see it. I put it on my number 10. I'm not sorry. That's the way I did it.
So my number 10 is also going to catch a bunch of crap because nobody really liked this movie at all. But I remember going to the theaters and seeing it in early 2000s. And I had already talked about it earlier as it being one of his last movies ever made. It is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
You know what? I was going to put this on my list because, and I don't remember it very well, but I liked the movie.
I loved the movie. I went to the theater with a bunch of friends. I remember Molly Meyerhofer being there, or Molly Kaminsky. She's in our coloring contest. She went to the movies with me for that, and I think a couple other people went, but we saw this movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, I usually enjoy most movies that I go and see in the theater, especially because that's just how I am. But this one I've went back and watched multiple times. I've seen it on, regular TV, watched it, and it hits just as well to me as it did when I saw it originally. It's a good movie. It's like a action adventure film that is comic booky. And I love it.
Yeah.
Like Jean Grey is it Jean Grey?
No, not Jean Grey. That's
something Grey.
From the X-Men.
Yeah, I know. It's something Grey. Where he can't look at his own picture or he'll die.
The Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Dorian Gray.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it.
Yeah.
Because if he looks at his own portrait, he'll die. And then
No. Don't you know the story of that?
Yeah, he'll eventually... his picture ages, but he doesn't.
Yeah, right.
But if he looks at it, he will then age and die.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then Sean Connery plays like, I can't remember. Whatever. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Check it out.
Alan Quartermain or something like
that.
Yeah,
it is something like that.
Yeah. I should have put that on my list. That should be number 9, but it isn't. My number 9 is Thunderball.
Oh, James Bond.
So
you're not a big James Bond fan.
I'm not a big James Bond fan.
Which is just like
not that I'm not
awful.
It's not that I'm not a fan. All right, I am a fan. I just haven't seen a lot of the older ones.
Oh, really?
I saw a bunch of the Sean Connery ones. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen pretty much every one of them. I like the Roger Moore ones a lot. Those were more my favorite. Obviously, I've seen everything since Pierce Brosnan, and I love the new ones.
Yeah, I really do too.
I don't know why I'm saying I'm not a huge fan. I am a fan. I love the Daniel Craig ones the most.
You've said it a lot though that you.
It's just not like I'm not as into it as I am other things. I know people are really into James Bond. A lot of people I know.
I love it.
Anyway, but I do remember a lot of the older, and I have rewatched them more fairly recently. I watch generally anytime I see an old Bond movie on TV, I would watch it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the last time. It doesn't work. TV doesn't work like that anymore.
It doesn't work like that anymore, and you have to search it out.
It's kind of sad that you can't on a Sunday afternoon be sitting at home and come across, an old James Bond movie.
It's still possible. You just have to watch your dish.
I think they're all on HBO, by the way. I think they own that
catalog. I haven't seen a James Bond movie in a long time besides one of the new ones, but the older movies, I haven't seen them out in a long time.
So this one is one I do remember. I just remember it being, I think it's the one of the first ones that has like good special effects. Like it's higher budget.
Yeah.
Good special effects.
Yep.
There's like exciting scenes. He flies away on a jetpack.
I don't know if that was in the 60s or 70s.
65.
Oh, okay. So it is early 60s because he started as James Bond in like 62, I believe.
Yeah. Dr. No was his first one, I think.
Yeah. 61 or 62. And then he went all the way into the 80s. He went into like 81. I don't remember what that one was. Never Say Never. Or...
He came back though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stopped. He had his last one in the 70s, and then he came back in like 81 and did another one.
Anyway, so I put that down as my number 9. I do remember that one, and I remember it just being a little more of an exciting. Some of the other ones aren't as exciting.
Yeah.
So
this one, again, people like a Sean Connery purist would hate me for putting this in here because you don't actually ever see Sean Connery in this movie. You only hear his voice. because he plays a dragon.
Oh, I forgot about that movie, and I should be on my top 10.
Dragonheart. Dennis Quaid is a knight, basically, that is sent to kill this dragon, and then he meets him and ends up finding out that he's really not like a bad dragon. And I didn't read up on it to refresh my memory, but I think like he's trying to reach the stars or something. Like he's trying to go home to the stars. I can't remember, but the dragon ends up saving them all. But Sean Connery has a huge part in this. Like the dragon is the main character of this show and does so many things. And he's funny. Like the dragon's funny, but he's also very serious. There's like brutal fight scenes between two dragons. It's awesome. It's an awesome movie. It's like when I remember watching it, obviously when I was younger, and I thought the CGI was incredible. I was like, you can't make a dragon any better than they made it in this movie. There's no possible way to make it.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but I've also seen side-by-side images of the dragons from Game of Thrones to Dragonheart, and holy crap. It's
really,
yeah, you can't even compare them. It's really bad when you look at it now. But at the time, I was like, that's really what a dragon looks like. This is what a dragon would be. It's a great movie. It's really fun. I loved it.
Awesome. That was what, your number
9.
So my number 8, I had something else, and I'm changing it now to Dragonheart.
Okay.
Because I forgot about it, and
normally we don't allow this.
Yeah, we do. Why not? We've never had it happen before.
I'm positive you've yelled at me for this.
So originally I had on my list really crazy weird movie just because it's a really weird crazy movie.
Okay.
Zardoz.
I never saw it.
I saw it years and years and years ago. Not when I was younger, but like when I was in college. It's from the 1974. It's like a super low budget science fiction movie, science fantasy movie.
That sounds fun.
It's really bad, but like good bad. You know what I mean? I'll read you the plot. In a future post-apocalyptic Earth in the year 2093, the human population is divided into immortal Eternals and mortal Brutals. The Brutals live in a wasteland growing food for the Eternals, who live apart in the vortex, leading a luxurious, aimless existence. The connection between the two groups is through brutal exterminators who kill and terrorize other Brutals at the orders of huge flying stoneheads called the Zardoz, which supplies them with weapons in exchange for food.
Okay.
It's crazy. You should look up pictures and see the outfit that he wears. He wears like a red underwear suspender thing.
Wow.
It's crazy. I have seen it. It's been a long time ago. It's one of those ones I watch because it's like famous for being bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
So anyway, I put that down as number 8.
8. My number 8, we've already talked about on a previous top 10 that involved Nicolas Cage. And it is a movie called The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock. He is an old grizzled, like veteran type person in this movie.
He's a prisoner.
Was he a prisoner? Yeah, he was a prisoner, right? And then he's the one who shows him how to get into Alcatraz.
Right.
Yeah, great movie. I love it. I don't know how much more I need to talk about it besides Sean Connery is in it. He has a great part. Nicolas Cage is the main character, but does a very good job.
No, absolutely. Great one. All right. My number 7, going back to the Bond.
Oh.
To like the best of the early Bond movies.
Yeah.
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Yeah. Love that movie.
Yeah.
As one of the probably the easiest ones to watch now. It's got the most, I don't know, it's just the best. It's like the best of the old Bond movies.
We'll talk about it more.
Okay. That was my number 7.
My number 7 is a movie called, and this was, again, one of his last movies, called Finding Forrester. Have you ever seen it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have seen it.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's like a classic young kid finds an old guy, and they become friends. He thinks he's not going to like him. Like Sean Connery's character kind of like he's an author. He wrote books, and he doesn't want any part of what's going on until they like create a bond and then work through the whole movie that way. And some of the lines that Sean Connery talks about, like from the books that he wrote and he like reads little like snippets from the books that he wrote. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's really good dialogue, and I think he does an incredible job acting it out through the whole movie.
And the kid's not like living up to his potential.
Right. And he's like building him up to make him a better person.
It's $1 million baby. It's
a classic storyline,
yes.
right? You've seen it before in a million different movies, but I just really love the way he acted in it.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right. That's my number. That was your number 7. My number 6 is Finding Forrester.
Oh, nice.
And we just talked about it, obviously. But yeah, I do like it sticks out. I remember seeing it. I probably saw it then, like at the time.
Yeah. I think it was 2003.
2000.
2000. Okay.
Gus Van Sant.
Yeah.
Who I was a fan of back in the day.
Back in the day. Which was a Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah. Because he was the director of Good Will Hunting.
Correct.
Yeah. Anyway, this was kind of a Good Will Hunting-y movie.
It is.
They made a lot of those kinds of movies. Dead Poets Society, like all those were going on
that
in
time
that time frame. This one was a little, different than that. But yeah, I really like this movie as well.
And he's old.
And I haven't seen it in a long. I probably since then.
Yeah, I
don't think
either.
I've rewatched it.
A lot of these movies are that way.
Yeah.
Where I haven't seen them in a long time. So that was what? 10, 9, 8,
6.
7. My number 6. I'm finally cracking into the James Bond movies. From Russia with Love.
Ooh, that's a good one. I remember that one.
So
that was the second one, right?
Yes. Let's see. Let me read something about it here. He's fighting people. So the bad guy is Donald Red Grant, an ex-KGB officer. And then Agent Rosa Klebb is involved with it. But the funny part about this that I wanted to talk about was that she's like helping him out, or no, is she a bad guy? She's a bad guy, and she's got poison-tipped shoes. So, like, her shoes have poison at the tip, and she just kicks people, and then they die.
Awesome.
This is what I love about James Bond movies, especially then.
The villains.
Like the crazy things that happen in these movies. And I love stories about Russia being bad.
Yeah, me too.
And KGB. Of course, you have to put KGB involved with anything with Russia. And James Bond beating them. I mean, how can you not love it?
I love it. I like that movie too. I'm now remembering more of the James Bond movies, and especially the Sean Connery ones, because those are the ones you'd see the most often.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's what they showed all the time. He was the classic Bond. He's known as James Bond.
Absolutely.
And you have to put him in your top 10.
So my number, what was that for you?
6.
That was your 6. My number 5, again, is not a highly acclaimed movie at all. But I have fond memories of it and would watch it again right now.
Yeah.
And that is First Night.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that movie. First Night. That's
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere is the knight.
Yeah. And it's like the Arthur story, except for it's...
And he's King Arthur.
He's King Arthur.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the first one where it's like flipped. Right, so like King Arthur's he's not really the main character. I don't think.
No, he's not. Richard Gere's
the main character.
Yeah.
Anyway, I absolutely love anything to do with knights, anything to do with the Arthurian legend and Guinevere and Lancelot and any of that stuff. I'm a huge fan of any of those types of movies. Every single one of them is good in my opinion, but this one is really hokey. Mm-hmm. And really like heavy on the romance angle. But I absolutely love it. I love this movie. I want to watch it. I'm probably going to watch it now this week.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would watch it. That's one of those movies that would come on like TBS on a Sunday that you would sit and watch all the time. And I've seen it probably 100 times because they play it so much.
Richard Gere was Lancelot. That's right.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. So that was my number 5.
All right. We've cracked the top 5.
Cracked the top 5.
Number 5 is continuing on with the James Bond legacy. Dr. No.
Yes, that's the first one, right?
Dr. No is his first one, 1961, I believe. Loyal CIA agent Felix Leiter, while dodging tarantulas, fire-breathing dragons, and a trio of assassins known as the Three Blind Mice, Bond meets up with a beautiful Honey Rider and goes face-to-face with the evil Dr. No.
Yeah.
Which is basically what Austin Powers was, like,
well, it draws from all of them.
It does, but like his Dr. No is
right. Dr. Evil.
Yeah, Dr. Evil. Like he is Dr. Evil. Like that is the character. They look exactly alike.
And then he has number 2 with the eye patch, and that's from Thunderball, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Dr. No, I don't remember Dr. No at all.
Oh, you don't? It's so
Almost
good.
no
Like
memory of it.
It's the classic James Bond. Like this is where it all starts from.
Yeah,
but then when we get into Goldfinger and a little bit later, it really stems into like what James Bond was about. But Dr. No started it all because he comes back, and the other CIA agent Felix.
Yeah, there's a sequel to it.
Yeah, he comes back through all of it as well.
But there's a sequel directly to Dr. No, right?
The
third one.
I don't remember.
There is a storyline on one of them from
Die Another Day.
It's the one. There's Dr. No from Russian with Love, and then the next one I think is a sequel to Dr. No, but I can't remember what it is. Anyway, I could be wrong about that. My number 4 is The Untouchables.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your number 4. Right.
So we're gonna talk about it later, I assume.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I won't go too much into depth that because we'll talk about that little Brian De Palma classic.
It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, that's my number 4.
My number 4 is a little movie called Hunt for Red October.
Oh, love it.
Are we going to talk about that again?
Yep.
Okay. Good
right
movie.
Right now, might as well talk about it because it's my number 3, Hunt for Red October.
I mean, Russia again, Soviet Union, Cold War, submarines, living on a submarine.
If I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I've seen it, I love anything to do with Jack Ryan.
Yes.
Alec Baldwin. Was that the first Jack Ryan movie?
I believe so, as far as I know.
Anyway, but Sean Connery played a Russian, right?
Yes.
A Russian traitor.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, he was.
Sean Connery did.
That's what I said, right? Sean Connery.
No, you said Alec Baldwin.
No, Alec Baldwin played Jack Ryan.
Right. And
Sean Connery was the rogue Russian.
He defected.
Defector.
Yeah.
But nobody knew it on the American side, so he was running from the Russians and from the Americans, basically.
Yes.
To get. Anyway, but he didn't have a Russian accent, right?
Not at all.
That I remember. Like
he has no Russian accent. Even at the time
when I saw it as a kid, or not a kid, but it was in the mid 90s, right?
1990.
Oh, that. So yeah, at the time I saw it as a kid, I remember thinking that. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense.
Wait, he's a Russian? Yeah, but it didn't care. Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. It's such a good movie.
Sean Connery's going to play this part, and he immediately said he doesn't want to have a Russian accent. That's fine. We're going to go with it. We're just going to call him a Russian.
I love the suspense of that movie.
Do you think they played it as like, since he's a defector and he's going to be with like the U.S., he could have whatever voice he wanted?
No.
Like,
they said we can get Sean Connery. Let's get him. He was a superstar.
That's true. In 1990, he could do whatever he wanted to do. But this movie's really fun. I love it. You don't really see many submarine movies.
And they're awesome.
Where you're stuck in a submarine and that's the only place you can go. That's hard to do.
I think one of my friends, and I believe a listener, just
Wrench.
Yeah, he just did his final. He was a submarine person. Submariner. And I think he's done now. He just did his final voyage.
Yeah, he got off the boat. He's going to Colorado.
Congratulations to him.
Yes, congratulations for
he's
making
going
it
to.
out.
What is it in there? It's like Strategic Command, right?
I don't know. I have no idea what he's doing.
He said it. I can't remember what it is.
Either way, being on a submarine terrifies me. I don't want to be underwater like
My
that.
neighbor right down the road at the corner was on a submarine. And he's like hardcore into it. He goes to all the clubs, like he goes to all the memorials, the dedications. He goes to the submarine at the Museum of Science and Industry and gives tours and answers questions. Yeah.
I didn't know this.
His thing. He's like the submarine. He like works with the organizations that restore these submarines and put them on display different places.
I think it's crazy to think about that. You're stuck on this ship. It's completely closed in. It's the only place you have to go. And you're just like blindly, it's not blind. Obviously, people are navigating it, but they're only navigating it off radar. You can't see anything.
Right.
It's just, or sonar. I guess it'd be sonar, right?
I don't know.
Whatever technology they use to see.
An onar.
Yeah.
One of the onars.
Some type of onar they're using. And it's terrifying to me because if you have any issue whatsoever and you just sink.
But they never do.
I know they don't.
Also, they're powered by nuclear reactors.
I'm pretty sure in Hunt for Red October, they sink.
Maybe.
To the bottom, and then they get back up.
Are we all thinking about the fact that they're powered by nuclear reactors?
They are.
It's insane,
well,
right?
Well, some of them. Not all of them are.
But most of them.
Most of the U.S. ones are.
Yeah. And it was in Hunt for Red October. Right?
Yeah.
But isn't that crazy? They have a nuclear reactor on a submarine, and we've had them for like 40 years or 30 years, and they're running submarines, and we're having no issues with that.
But yet
we can't have
nuclear power.
Could we even take the reactor that size and like just put it in a town square? Be like, we're just going to power this town.
I'm pretty sure you could.
I'm pretty sure you could too.
I mean, I'm no nuclear physicist, but
we should ask Wrench because he is. That's what he did.
Right.
He was.
Well, he's a nuclear engineer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's the person that ran the nuclear engine on the submarine.
No, he's a electrician, nuclear electrician or something.
Nuclear.
Nucleoid.
It's pronounced nuclear.
Pretty sure it's nucleoid.
That's from The Simpsons. Anyway, that was my number 3 too. Hunt for Red October.
So now I'm on my number 3,
yes, sir.
which is probably going to be talked about again. Last Crusade.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be talked about again.
Yeah. All right. That's an Indiana Jones film.
Yeah.
And we will speak about it later.
All right. My number 2 is The Rock.
That's your number 2?
Yeah, that's my number 2.
It's a great movie.
I love that movie.
I love it too.
It's great.
It's super fun. You've got big green balls that you've got to stop from breaking.
Yeah.
That hang in like a chandelier type thing. And they jingle around. And why you would have them jingle around like that, glass balls that can't break apart.
Because they're inside the tubes.
Well, I understand, but they can still move around in the tube.
What's that?
Wouldn't they?
I don't know.
Well, as soon as you pull them out of the tube, they jingle like crazy. And
you got to dive in slow motion and catch them
and
at the
catch
last
them.
second.
Otherwise, it'll eat your face off.
Full Michael Bay fashion.
It's so good. It's so good.
So that's my number 2, The Rock. Everybody knows it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. So
my number 2, back to James Bond.
Ooh.
Goldfinger.
Oh, yeah, Goldfinger.
It is the classic James Bond
Absolutely.
movie. I think this is where everybody remembers James Bond. Like when they remember James Bond, they're remembering this movie.
Yeah.
If you think about Sean Connery.
It's probably one of the most popular ones, right?
It's absolutely one of the most popular, and rightfully so because it's so good. And
they do this on Austin Powers too, right?
Oh, yeah.
They do Gold Member. Yeah,
Yeah, Gold Member, Goldfinger. Gert Frobe is the actor that plays Goldfinger. And as soon as I read that name, I was like, that's from, or they use his name in, what is that David Spade movie? Why can't I think of it? Oh, Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt.
They renamed one of the guys Gert B. Frobe, which is the actor that plays Goldfinger. And I just put that together today. So he's raiding Fort Knox. He's going to take a bunch of like gold, obviously, from Fort Knox, and that's the whole storyline. He has to stop him from doing that.
And it's in the U.S. of A.
Yes, and it is in the U.S. And the woman, like the love interest woman that has nothing to do with him, is not interested in James Bond, but they become a love interest later. Spoilers.
Of course.
You know what her name is?
No.
Pussy Galore.
Yeah. I thought you meant in real life.
No, in the show.
Yeah.
Pussy Galore. You can never do that again. It will never happen again. You'll never hear that as a character name. How they got away with these names is beyond me because it's ridiculous. Even at the time, they had to think like, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Apparently not.
People went along with it.
They're based on books, right? I wonder if it was like that in the book.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not all based on books, though, I don't think, are they?
I don't know if all of them are, but I think this one is.
Playing all week by the way, this week at the AMC Naperville 16
Is it really?
and the AMC Crestwood 18 around here. Yeah, playing tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7:15 every night.
This is the first one where you see Odd Job in it.
We
as
should
well.
go. We should go this week.
Odd Job is the little henchman where he throws his hat.
Let's do a Snarf Talk road trip and see Goldfinger this
I think
week.
we should.
Because it's 7:15. It's early enough for you, right?
Oh, yeah. What day?
Any day this week.
Oh, it's the whole week?
Yeah, and maybe the weekend too. I can only see till Thursday right now.
We should do Tuesday because I have Wednesday off.
Okay, let's do it. If our wives let us do it.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
We totally screwed up because you are a lazy bastard, and we're gonna see Empire Strikes Back
I know.
in the movie theater, which I've never seen on the big screen. I don't think.
I haven't.
And I was super excited about it, and Jerry was too tired.
There's reasons for that.
Too
but
tired and too hungover.
that may have been a problem for me. It is what it is, Chris. You were involved with all of it. It's your fault.
I was. But I was responsible, and I went home. Actually, you went home before me.
All right.
Like right before me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was your number 2?
Yeah.
Any more on that?
Great movie.
My number 1 is 100% what everybody would expect it to be and what Jerry already knows it is.
Yes.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. My favorite Indiana Jones movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. And I love Sean Connery in it. He's
incredible.
This was the beginning, I think, of his resurgence.
Resurgence, yeah.
Because he was James Bond, basically.
I mean, really from, I think, 80, it was either like 81 or 83 or whatever, he did James Bond again for the last time when he came back for the one show.
And that was like it, right?
One
It was
movie.
like,
and then after that, you really didn't see him again. I don't know any movies that he played up until like the 90s.
Well, it's because he got old. So he made a new career for himself
Yeah.
as an old man. And this was the first time. So,
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
So in 1962, he did Dr. No. And then From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, On Her Man. See, I don't know how many he did here. Did he do... Yeah, he was an Octopussy. That was 83.
I thought 83 was the last one he did.
That might be. Who was in A View to Kill?
I don't know. You're looking at it. Why
Yeah,
are you
I don't
asking
know.
me?
Anyway, this
Why
was
don't you
his,
just
like,
look up only Sean Connery
we're talking about
Bonds?
Indiana Jones now.
Yes, we are.
This was his basically comeback, and it's awesome.
When did
awesome
that
movie.
come out? In The Last Crusade?
Late 80s would have been.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm not aware. Because Hunt for Red October was 1990, so we had already started the resurgence.
Indiana Jones came out in 1989.
Oh, okay.
So
the
that's
year
what
before.
got him up there. I don't know. I just watched this movie like last weekend. It was on.
Did you?
And it was on TV, and I just watched
Clicked it on.
The only reason I did is because I went to check my DirecTV, which I've had no DirecTV all summer because there's a tree that blocks my
COVID.
satellite dish.
COVID.
And so finally the leaves fell off the tree. So I'm like, oh, I got TV again.
Yeah.
And that's what I watched. They were running a marathon
Perfect.
on AMC.
And you saw the last
I
one.
watched Temple of Doom and Last Crusade.
And you love Temple of Doom.
No. Anyway, so I love the scene where, so obviously Indiana Jones starts to have a relationship with the German woman, the Nazi woman who he finds out later stabs him in the back, basically.
Right. Takes everything out of the room.
When he finally gets to get his dad from the castle, she shows up, and Sean Connery says something like, she's a Nazi. He's like, how do you know? She's like, well, she talks in her sleep. And that moment when they both realize that they both slept with her, or Indiana Jones realizes it at least. I don't think Sean Connery knows it.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of interplay like going throughout the rest of the movie about that.
Yeah.
And he's super funny in it.
Oh, big time.
It's a great movie. That's clear and far and away number one Sean Connery movie. If you have something different, you're wrong.
I do have something different because I already talked about The Last Crusade as my number 3.
Okay.
But my number 1 is clearly The Untouchables.
You know, maybe I don't have it high enough, and that's only because I barely remember it. I mean, I haven't seen it in such a long time.
So
I remember it being good, but I don't remember it.
It's an incredible movie. It's very, very good. It's great for the gangster type film, where you have, Elliot Ness and
Al Capone, right?
Yeah, they're trying to stop. So Elliot Ness is Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Plays Elliot Ness trying to stop Al Capone in Chicago in like the Prohibition era, trying to stop Al Capone from doing whatever he's doing. And he gets a group of people together, the Untouchables, to go out and stop all of this crime and try to figure it all out. It's a very long movie.
Yeah.
That's the downfall of this. I believe it is, does it say on here?
119 minutes. That's not that long.
Oh, yeah, it's just 2 hours. Man, I thought it was longer than that. I must be thinking about something else. I thought it was over 2.5 hours.
You're thinking of Dances with Wolves. That's long.
No, I thought it was over 2.5. Either way, 2 hour movie. I think it's really good. Kevin Costner obviously is phenomenal, but Sean Connery's like his right hand man, and I believe he won an Oscar for this role.
He did. He won Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Right, because of his role as Jim Malone or something. It's just so fun. I love Prohibition era type movies. I love gangster movies.
Oh, you know what's
he does a great job as an Irishman, which that's who he plays is an Irishman in this movie. Yeah, Jim Malone. And the whole thing's very fun. Kevin Costner's great. Sean Connery's great. Andy Garcia's in it. Robert De Niro.
Of course, they're in it. Andy Garcia's in it because it's a mob movie.
It's a mob movie. Why wouldn't he be? Robert De Niro is Al Capone. The movie's great. I love it. I've seen it 1,000 times, and I would watch it 1,000 more.
I do also love those types of era movies. There's a really great one that me and Marley would watch that we had never even heard of. We literally just rented it one night. Like back in the day when you would rent stuff when you have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
We did that. It's a movie called Lawless with Tom Hardy.
Oh, yeah. That's a phenomenal movie.
It's from 2012.
Shia LaBeouf.
We didn't probably see it till a couple years after it came out, but it is an awesome movie.
Shia LaBeouf and him got in a real fight during this filming of that. Yeah.
They're moonshiners.
Yeah. What? This isn't a no-name movie. Everybody knows this movie. It's great.
I don't know if everybody does, but
Tom Hardy's phenomenal. He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
Anyway, he's not Sean Connery, and
Untouchables, #1 movie of Sean Connery's career.
Last Crusade.
And if you don't believe that, you can just get out.
Get out right now. It's
Get up out of
the
here.
end of you and
Get up out of here, boy. Get. That's what I'm telling you.
That's it. That's our top 10 Sean Connery
If you
movies.
have any feedback on this top 10, we would love to hear your top 10. Maybe Jim Bilmer could give us his, seeing as how he suggested the Sean Connery top 10.
Yeah.
I would like to know what he would put as the best Sean Connery movies, because apparently you are strongly opinionated on
very much
Mr. Connery.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd to me sometimes, and I didn't really think about it until I started this list. He is considered, I would say he's one of those few actors that's like superstar level.
Yes.
That everybody in the world knows, and you just automatically like think Sean Connery when you think like famous actor.
Yes.
But then you look back through his movies and you're like,
I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched a lot of these movies, and like some of them are, I'm not saying they're not good, but they're just like not blockbuster.
To be honest, I think it was because he was a very handsome man that did well as James Bond.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think James Bond was like the epitome of what he did. He was known as James Bond. That's it.
It's so weird though, because when I was a kid, he was known as Indiana Jones's dad. I had no idea about James Bond.
Well, for you, yeah.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. I didn't really even know until I was older that he even was James Bond. I just thought James Bond's Pierce Brosnan.
See, no, I knew he was James Bond because I had watched a lot of those movies.
I'd see the old James Bond movies. I'm talking when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like in the early 90s.
Me too.
But when I saw old James Bond movies, they were always like Roger Moore because they were newer.
That's you just had a terrible upbringing.
I guess. That's what was on TV because they were newer probably.
Yeah, you were let to watch movies that were subpar with a lesser James Bond.
Who were the other James Bonds?
How many are there? There was one guy that only did one movie.
Well, technically, there was a comedy, Casino Royale comedy with Woody Allen, and he counts as James Bond.
I didn't.
It was a James Bond. It was Casino Royale, but it was made as like a spoof.
Really?
But Woody Allen played James Bond, and so he actually counts as one of the actors.
No way.
Yes, he does.
That's not. No.
So
that's not canon. It can't be canon to James
well, it's
Bond.
not. It was a spoof.
Right. It's a spoof. So why would he count?
Okay, maybe I'm just saying he played James Bond.
I guess he did.
Sean Connery, obviously, 1962 to 1967, and then 1971 and 1983. So for 1 year, there was David Niven.
Yeah, you've got, let's see.
For 1 year, there was George Lazenby. I don't know if I remember that one or not. Roger Moore obviously did a ton of them, 1972 to 1985.
Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton, he didn't do as many, but I love Timothy Dalton. He's on Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
He's on Doctor Who.
I forgot he did a James Bond. I think he only did one or two.
I don't remember. For most of my time growing up, Pierce Brosnan was James Bond. Mm-hmm. He played Bond. Timothy Dalton played him twice, 1987 and 1989.
Barry Nelson was the first one. Barry Nelson played in Casino Royale along with David Niven.
With the retirement of Roger Moore in 1985, a search for a new actor to play Bond took place that saw a number of actors, including Sam Neill. Is he British?
I would assume.
Pierce Brosnan and Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton won it, obviously. And then they went to Pierce Brosnan. Anyway, yeah. I think Roger Moore did the most James Bond movies.
Did he?
Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me. That's a really popular one. Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and A View to Kill. Octopussy was one that was on all the time.
So he did 7 of them. But Sean Connery did how many?
I'm going to look right here. He did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So they did the same amount.
Except Never Say Never Again. They say non-Eon film. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
David Niven did 1, Casino Royale, the first Casino Royale. George Lazenby did 1. Timothy Dalton did 2. Pierce Brosnan did 4. Daniel Craig did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow. Including the newest one coming out?
No Time to Die, yep.
Yeah.
Including that. So, yeah.
I'm excited to see that. I want to see that movie.
I love Skyfall.
Oh, yeah. So good. And Spectre.
And
Spectre Casino
was
Royale.
really good. Quantum of Solace was good. They were all super good.
He did Casino Royale, too, right?
Yeah. That was the first one he did.
Yeah. And then Quantum of Solace, then Spectre, then...
So they say Daniel Craig is playing a more Sean Connery-esque James Bond, more of a bruiser type.
Yeah, I would agree.
Compared to Pierce Brosnan, which was a little more...
Sleuth.
Yeah, spy.
Yep.
So...
But I like James Bond. James Bond, Pierce Brosnan. I liked him as a James Bond. I had... what was his...
And wasn't GoldenEye kind of...
I mean, that's what I grew up on with Nintendo 64,
Yeah.
I watched the movie, I saw all the movies that he did as James Bond, and then I played them as a game.
I mean, that's the thing. When I think of James Bond, I think of GoldenEye.
It ties me to that world a little bit more because of it, and the amount of GoldenEye I played in my life, I wish I could have those days back.
Really? I had a fun time doing it. I did not play that much.
That's what I'm saying. I had a fun time doing it, and I wish I could have those days back.
I see what you mean.
It was so fun.
I didn't have a Nintendo 64, so I would just be able to play it at friends' houses.
When I look at Grady and Cash and Bryce and all of them playing Fortnite together right now, that's exactly what I did with GoldenEye, with like me and David and Greg and Andrew.
Yeah.
Like that's what we did. We went and played GoldenEye, but you had to sit on the same TV and stare at a 4-way split screen.
Well, instead now they just all are in their own houses on iPads doing FaceTime.
Right.
And
That's what they do.
And you can hear all
And
of
they
us in the
scream.
background yelling at them.
Yeah, we do. I hear Marley all the time. I'm sure you hear me because
They yell.
they scream at each other. They constantly are yelling. I yell at Grant all the time. And then it doesn't help because I then immediately raise my voice and yell and say, "Quit yelling. You're yelling through the whole house for no reason. Like, why are you yelling at them?
Right.
But they talk at such a level. Unbelievable.
Where
for
did
small
they get
children.
this talking
So
ability?
stupid. It's dumb. All I ever tell them is like, close the door. Please just close the door to your room. Like, close the door so I don't hear you. Then talk as loud as you want. Unless I hear you through the door, and then you need to quiet down.
I'm
A lot of double standards.
I'm basically like already turning into my dad because it's when if I go into my living room and sit down and watch TV, it's like, don't come in the room. I'm immediately changing the channel to whatever I want. That's something my dad, when I was a kid, it'd be like Saturday morning cartoons. Loved them. Lived for them, right? Yeah. But
that's my life.
You'd always be like, he's not coming. He's coming. Oh, because my dad usually would work on Saturdays, but sometime he'd come in, and then it was immediately sit down, change to the news. You're like, it's over.
My life is
There's only one TV in this house.
Right. That's all we ever had was one. Until I got older.
It was a Zenith in one of those wooden boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a standard 90s living.
I remember not having a remote control when I was a little kid.
So do I.
And you'd have to chunk.
Yep. We had a TV growing up, and then we literally went from that TV to a newer, like, bigger TV. I don't remember. It wasn't flat screen by any means. It was just like a bigger TV. And we got a satellite.
Yeah.
And it changed everything in my house.
It was a super long time until we had anything other than the Zenith in the box.
And just
TV.
Cable, like regular antenna
Oh, yeah,
TV.
we never had. I didn't have. My parents got satellite. It was Prime Star, but I was already.
Was it like a giant satellite?
No,
One of the big ones?
No. It was like the precursor to DirecTV.
Oh. See, we got DirecTV when it came out, whenever it came out.
Yeah, it wasn't out yet. It was Prime Star.
But you would have been in college by the time I got that, because I was, probably 7 or 8.
We got it when I was in high school. I was in high school.
Yeah, and so about the exact same time.
And at that time, we had one box. I'm assuming because my parents didn't want to pay for more boxes.
Yeah.
But at that time, we had more. There was a TV in the living room and a TV in their bedroom, and there was one in the basement, I think. But we only had the one box, which was down in the room with the furnace. And then we had these little pyramids that were made by RCA that you would set in that room, and then you would set the other one on top of your TV upstairs. And when you hit a button with your remote control, it would transmit it from the little pyramid to the pyramid in the basement, and that would, like, the RF signal would pass through, and then it would rebroadcast it to the box to change the channel.
Really?
So every TV in the house would have to watch the same thing.
The same thing.
But you could have a remote in each room, because in each room you had one of those little pyramids.
Yeah.
And
I never knew.
It was just like it's basically a radio. Like it was like a translucent red pyramid.
Wow.
And
you were fancy.
Yeah, it was kind of fancy. But it was actually the cheaper solution than
getting multiple boxes.
Yeah. But there was a huge delay, and lots of times it wouldn't work because it literally had one of those old style antennas where you click, 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 click. So lots of times it wouldn't work. So you'd be sitting here and you'd have to hit the button a million times. But with the delay, the one time you'd hit it, but then you'd be hitting other stuff. And then finally it would do the switch. And by that time, you'd wait like 2 seconds. Then it'd be like 8, 8, 8, 8.
It'd switch again. Yeah.
It was terrible. It never worked worth a shit.
Yeah, we never had anything like that. We only had the one box in the one room for the longest time. But it still like changed my world.
Yeah.
Because we could watch whatever. It seemed like limitless content.
Yeah.
To me as a kid.
I don't remember it that much, so I'm guessing I was a little older in high school when we got it, and I wasn't watching as much TV at that point. I'd watch like Buffy.
Right, that was it. That's all you ever watched.
Yeah.
Buffy
the Vampire Slayer.
It's dumb. Well, we've reached our time, Christopher. That is it for Snarf Talk 101. We have things that you guys could get. Like, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/snarfcomics. You can subscribe for like $1 or $50 or $100. whatever you wanted to. Anywhere in between there, you could subscribe and get like a bundle of Snarf, get a bunch of other things. We have some that need to go out to people, but that's available to you. You get extra content that you wouldn't get on a normal episode. You can check out snarfcomics.com. You can also get t-shirts. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, and that's it available, right?
Yeah.
We still got a bunch of them left.
And you got 3 more weeks to finish up your coloring contest entries.
Yes.
And we will be declaring the winner of the Snarf coloring contest on episode 104.
So you got to get them in soon. What did you say, 3 weeks?
Yeah, that would be around Thanksgiving.
Okay. 3 weeks, that's all you got. So email us your picture. So if you have the pictures
It'd be like
in your coloring.
November 30th. So you need to get it in by the 26th of November, which is that
the day before Thanksgiving, I think.
You need to, I think that is Thanksgiving.
You
need to get it in by Thanksgiving Day.
Please.
Probably we'll record on the 27th. So
that way we can see it. We can get accurate judgment on all of your pictures.
Record usually a couple days before. So
yeah. But email us at info@snarfcomics, or send it to us on our social medias, wherever we can get a picture and look at it. That's how we need to get it from you.
Yeah.
If you are the winner, we would like your picture back.
No, I mean, it's required, or
Yes.
else you will not get your
Right, exactly.
prize.
Like we would like it because that is how you get your prize. And we will hang it up here on the walls of the Snarf Talk studio.
Yeah, I like it. We had one. Did you email that? There was somebody that had emailed asking if that was the right picture or something.
Yeah, but she also sent us a Facebook message, and I messaged her. Like, she finally got it. And she
don't
said
know where
thanks.
she's from. I don't know her. But I'm trying to find the email because she worded it in a very interesting way.
Yeah, it was like, to whom it may concern.
Yeah, let me find it.
I believe it was to whom it may concern.
It definitely was.
And then it was about, like, it looks like 2 people hunting a goat.
2 men hunting
a
goat.
Which is basically what we're doing, but
I don't.
we're Ghostbusters.
Was she joking, or did she not understand that it was a Ghostbusters?
I don't think she got that it was a Ghostbusters thing. She knows now, though. That could definitely affect how you color this picture.
Yeah. I can't find it. I'll find it sometime. But it was really funny.
It was very good. Other than that, I'm done.
That's it for me.
Got everything out that you needed to get out?
Yep.
Another one bites the dust, Chris. We're 1 over 100.
There you go. For Snarf Talk this week, I've been Chris.
I am Jerry.
See ya.